Hello viewers, welcome to our program on Immigration and You. I am your immigration attorney Michael Fulwani. My partner David Nachman is traveling, so he couldn't be here. But my another partner, Ludka Zimochak, is right here next to me.
Hello everyone.
Thank you very much. And let's start our program again with the same announcement we made on the International TNEC Film Festival. And that happens every year in the month of November. This year it will happen from 7 to 9, 3 days of celebrations, lots of movies, including a Bollywood movie. Which one? Ram Leela. They know all the Ram Leela's. And imagine it's only $35 for all the events. So it's a very good deal. If you just want to see a movie only, it's probably $6 or $8, depending on whether you buy in advance or you on the gate. So we tell you this festival is going to be in Teaneck, New Jersey, and you can get all that information on their website www.teaneckfilmfestival.org. But if you need any other questions, you can also send it to us. We'll be happy to provide you. And I'll be there, and David will be there. Maybe Dudka will be there too. So we'll all be more than happy to see you, meet you at that time. So meet and greet Michael Fulwani, David Nachman, and Ludka Zimochak. Anyway, so let's go back to the program that we did last week. We talked about how when some events take place, the category in which a person is waiting changes from something else to better or more delayed. But let's talk about something we couldn't cover last time. How does that happen in employment preference categories? Now, let's talk about EB1, Ludka. EB1, what's EB1 and what happens there?
For EB1, there is no change currently, so it's always current for all the countries, and it's either for multinational managers or aliens of extraordinary abilities or outstanding researchers or professors, but generally speaking, it's always current.
Again, this to be examined case by case basis,
yes,
very thoroughly, not just everybody says, okay, you said on a TV that you can move to EB1, but you have to qualify for that.
Yeah, right? You have to have credentials, yes. You have to have either publications or be extraordinary in the field.
Extraordinary, more than ordinary.
Yes, or outstanding, depending on which category within the EB1.
Okay, let's go to family preference EB2.
Employment based.
Employment 2. Mm-hmm. What's that? What can happen in that category?
So with regards to the EB2, again, if the credentials are good, we would examine credentials of the applicant. They would be able to file for EB1 again only if they qualify. Or the same way from EB3, it's possible to upgrade the case to EB2.
It reminds me of something else I must mention. It's called the rule of cross-chargeability.
That's a good rule.
That's a good one because EB2 is current for other countries. That's why I think it's important to know. The priority dates, the delays or whatever the cutoff dates are based upon the country of birth, not citizenship. So let's say that if a person is waiting in line under EB2 category because he was born in India and the Indian quota is backlogged, but his wife was born in another country, maybe Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal or any other country, then he can take place of the wife's country of birth, and that is current.
Exactly.
It's very, very important. Some people don't know, they're just waiting in the line, but they're qualified, eligible to take the wife's place of birth.
Yeah, basically it's any other country. If there are Canadians, many Indian nationals, have kids in Canada.
Only few countries where that may not be possible. But I would say more other than India in this case.
But obviously immigration will not do it automatically.
Of course, you have to advise them, hey,
yes.
Wait a minute, my wife was born in Bangladesh, Nepal.
Yes.
Okay, please give me the priority date of my wife's country.
Yeah, you have to request it in writing.
Okay. How about EB3? Now, you have to understand, EB3 is very much backlogged and it's not moving. It's a very bad news. I don't even know whether I should give the bad news or not, but it's a fact of life.
Yeah.
You're talk.
It's about
EB3 right now, India is November 2003. Which, how many years now? 10 years?
Yeah, more than 11.
Only if every month moves 1 month, then you are saying 10 years. But it doesn't happen. So, would I be wrong if I say 15 or 20? If there's no change in the law. If there's no change in the law, line stays the same, would you say it may take somebody who starts today, may have to wait maybe 15 or 20 years?
It is possible.
It's possible. So, this guy is concerned. right? Here we have in the studio someone who's also concerned. But you want to go from EB3 to EB2. That's the option?
It is option.
How can you do that?
The good thing is that you can retain the earlier priority date. So the applicant, if again he has credential, for example, he obtains master's degree, he gets a new job where the master's degree is required, the new employer, for example, could apply for EB2 and he would be able to retain the original priority date.
If the I-140 on the EB3 has been approved.
Yes, of
previously.
course.
So which is good. He started the case in 2005 or 2007, 8 or 9 or whenever, and that is pending, you know,
For a long time.
long time, and he got that priority date. Even if he's starting a new case all over, new labor certification, a new I-140, once the I-140 gets approved on the new one, you get the old priority date, and that is current, and
Yes.
you get right away.
Of course, you have to request it again.
Of course, again,
You have to request it
call-
in writing.
You have to call Lutka, and then she can help you in that, right?
Yes, certainly.
Now, EB4 and 5, I don't think there's much change because they are complete
It's current.
independent categories. Not you cannot change from. And anyway, they are current, so there's no need to change
Yeah,
anything.
that's a good news.
Some question that comes in, we did talk little bit about Child Status Protection Act under the family preference
Yeah.
categories. What about the employment preference categories? Is it possible that when a child crosses 21, waiting as a derivative in an employment preference category, that a CSPA may help?
Yes, and actually in many cases it does help. What we have to look at is at the I-140 petition. We need to look at how long has the I-140 petition been pending. The longer it's been pending, the better. I've had some cases where the petition was pending for 3 years, 2 years. So that time we would be able to deduct from the child's age.
I'll tell you an interesting story. Going back to family preference categories. A guy came to me, he says, I had filed a petition for my brother, and they sent it back to me. Petition at that time,
Yeah.
old time, that you attach a birth certificate, resubmit it. But the letter did not have any date before whatever date. He says, I just kept in the attic, I don't even know where the papers are. I said, well, show me the papers. He brings the paper, I see the letter. I said, you have the birth certificate now? He said, yes. I said, I'll try. So I attached the birth certificate, went back to immigration. That took a long time somehow, finally we got it. They approved the petition. 9 years, there was difference. 9 years.
Oh, that's a good news.
So he went for an interview, the first case in the CSPA. Now I answered, come on, you are 30, you know, how can I issue? I cannot do that. You're 30 years old. So I sent an email, I said, but CSPA is that.
Would apply.
Nevertheless, they send a case to the Department of State for advisory opinion. And I sent a letter also. Well, obviously, you know, advisory opinion would say, yes, that's a law, you follow. So
Yeah.
when people call me and complain, I filed a petition 2 years ago, 3 years ago, it's still pending, I say, go to temple, pray God that they delay more 2 years so that your
Yes.
children can get. So that's an interesting thing. So let's move on to some other subject, which is called NIV circus. What is NIV am I talking about?
Non-immigrant visas.
And what's a non-immigrant visa?
That means that it's not a green card, so it's just temporary visa.
Yeah.
Some are dual intent, some are just non-immigrant visas where you shouldn't be applying
In
for
other
a
words,
green
basically
card.
temporary visas.
Yes.
And it depends on the type of visa, it depends on based upon the duration of stay, whether person can work or not, whether the spouse can work or not. Each category we have
It's
different
different.
requirements.
Yes.
Now, what we're telling is a good thing that you are mentioning. Some types of visas you cannot get, the consul cannot issue the visas unless the immigration service approves the petition. Like we do a lot of film, Bollywood cases or shooting cases, performances. We cannot, some producers in the beginning, before this law, used to go to the consul, I'm going for a shooting for the visa. They say, where is the
Yeah.
petition? What? What petition? So, there are other categories also that require a petition approval before. What kind of cases? The
As you
petitions-
mentioned O,
Yes.
you mentioned Bollywood, so it would be O visas, P visas,
Correct.
H1B, H1Bs, L1 visas.
Yeah.
So these are the main type of
Main
visas.
type of visas where
Yeah.
the petitioner in the US has to file, not
Yes.
the person himself, but in most cases I would say. So the dual intent issue again is this. Any person applies for a non-immigrant visa, other than some categories which have a dual intent, consul wants to be satisfied that the person is going to come back and no intention to settle down in the US. That's the main concern. People complain, oh, why now, why he denied it? There's only one main reason, most cases. Very few cases they may have a criminal or some other reasons. Most cases the council is not satisfied this guy is going to come back. So that's a discretionary thing. But some categories council cannot deny because of that reason. Now, Lutkaji is going to tell you a little more about what categories have a dual intent and why the council cannot deny under that. He can still deny other reasons.
So for example, one of the main categories, H1Bs, L1s, where again, as you mentioned, dual intent,
yes.
You don't have to show the ties to your home country. So that's a good thing. So people can be living here for years. They don't have to show that they have a residence in India and that they are going to come back. And many of the H1Bs and many of the Ls obviously apply for the green card, which is okay.
So I'll give you an example. Somebody is applying for H1B visa. Some people are worried. They should not be worried. That's the whole purpose of the program.
Yes.
He said, oh yeah, but now I got married to a green card holder, so I cannot apply. I said, you can. It doesn't have anything to do. If you are, even if you are a US citizen and your wife is applying for H1 or L1 and she doesn't want to wait for a whole year of processing under the citizen cases, you can apply. Clearly tell the American consul you should that you are married. That there is no question of intent. Yes, I will settle down. Yes, I'm getting married to a green card holder citizen. Consul cannot say anything about that part. So because he had a dual. Dual means dono. Dono intent means both.
Yes.
Immigrant and a non-immigrant. So that's a very good news.
Yeah.
So that's very important. And the question also comes about on basically. Let me just shift to this something very very new and close. We can talk a little more about that. But people ask CIR all the time, and no program is really complete without mentioning something. Now, as we know that President Obama is frustrated with the Congress and Congress is not willing to pass, he's coming up, he's announced already that very shortly he's going to make some administrative changes. And the recent today's news that we are talking about, some of the, I think, congressmen or senators saying that if he does that, we're going to cut down on the budget. No budget, no money for the immigration service. So they're threatening. And Obama, from the White House, people are saying that they don't care. I mean, if he has made a decision, he's going to do it. So we don't know at this point. Looks like Obama is determined. Now, if I was Obama, what could I, or you were Obama, right? What administrative changes can you do that? What can you do?
Well, that's a good question.
Yeah, from what I see is that initially some people were talking about all the illegal aliens do the same thing like DACA. As long as they are here, then you can deferred deportation, we call it, and they can EAD, they can live. But it's too big. It's too big. I don't think Obama is going to do it because you will see the hue and cry, and they will probably go to case up the Supreme Court that he's actually just bypassing the Congress and making laws which he's not supposed to do. So what then the limited way that he probably may do, in my opinion, is illegal aliens who have US citizen children born in the US. So that category is little smaller than all. So that maybe a million people against the 2 million against the 12 million. So there's a justification also. Guy has a child born here, 2 children, both US citizens. They are going to school now, maybe college also. How does he be deported? It's real extreme hardship in that. There is a justification. So I think that's a good thing. The other thing they are talking about is interpretation of the law. See, right now when somebody applies, a green card holder applies for the wife and the children, they count wife and child for the children also. 5 numbers, the quota.
Yes.
So they are saying that the administration should come with the interpretation that the children, derivative children, should not be counted.
Yeah.
Should not
that
be
would
counted.
be smart.
So no, I don't know a number because they are saying it's a pretty good large number. Imagine you take all the children out of the quota system, right? Then those extra visa numbers will become available that they can utilize. The line will go down. For example, even the the family second 2B category.
Yes.
How many years are we talking about?
2007, I believe. Yeah.
So 6-7 years, right?
Yeah.
But if you take the children out separate, don't count them, they'll be current.
Yeah.
So
good news.
that's hopefully that, and President Obama will announce shortly, and once he does that, we will be coming on ITV and giving you all the information about what kind of changes and what can be done and how you can get assistance from our law firm NPC Law Group. So with that, again, I thank you very much, Ludka, for coming on the program.
My pleasure.
Thank all of you for watching the program. Please keep watching us every Saturday and Sunday only on ITV and Vision Avisha. Thank you very much.